Okay, so on this question, it says h of x is a rational function graphed on the right. The coordinates of the whole are 1 comma negative 1/2. Write the equation of h of x. Leave your answer in factored form / unsimplified. So fortunately, it gives us the coordinates of the whole, that being 1 comma negative 1/2. And we know that the x coordinate of a whole is going to be given to us from a canceling factor in the numerator and denominator. So the canceling factor in our numerator and denominator is going to be x minus 1, because the 0 of x minus 1 is going to be a positive 1. So I know that for my rational, I'm going to have a factor of x minus 1 on my numerator and denominator that are going to cancel out. And again, that comes from the whole given to us. The next thing I want to go ahead and look at, or the next thing I'm going to go ahead and look at, is my x-intercept. And my x-intercept given to me here is at 2. So we have an x-intercept at 2 comma 0. And from a rational function, I can determine that by setting my numerator equal to 0. Now, we're going to assume that these x minus 1s are canceled out, and then I'm left with just whatever's up on my numerator. And so the factor that would give me a positive 2 is going to be x minus 2. Because again, if I set that equal to 0, that is going to equal a positive 2. So my x-intercept there is going to be 2 comma 0. Lastly, I want to go ahead and get my vertical asymptote. And my vertical asymptote is found by setting my denominator equal to 0. So again, we're going to assume right now that my x minus 1s are canceled out for our whole. And I'm going to have to look at my graph for that. And I see I'm going to have a vertical asymptote here at negative 1, because we see that we are approaching negative 1 from the right side and the left side of the function there. So my factor that's going to correspond to that is going to be x plus 1, because the 0 of x plus 1, or when I set that equal to 0, is going to be equal to negative 1. So then on my denominator, I'm going to have a factor of x plus 1. So just to go ahead and check and make sure that everything checks out here, I also am going to have a horizontal asymptote at y equals a positive 1. So when I go ahead and look at my degree of my numerator and denominator, they are both going to be 2, because an x times x would give me an x squared. And if my degrees are the same, then I go ahead and look at the coefficients, which are both going to be 1, and the ratio of that, 1 over 1, is going to equal 1. So as my function stands right now, that goes ahead and checks out. If I did have a horizontal asymptote of, let's say, 3, I would have to go ahead and put a 3 on my numerator then. But since we don't have to worry about that. And then the last thing, I just want to make sure that the y coordinate for my whole works. So let's say I go ahead and I cancel this out right here. Then I'll have a simplified function of x minus 2 over x plus 1. And then I go ahead and plug in the x coordinate of my whole into that. So 1 minus 1 over 1 plus 1, not 1 minus 1. 1 minus 2 over 1 plus 1, which would give me a negative 1 over 2, which is the y coordinate of my whole. So therefore, we know that this whole entire function is going to work, and this is going to be my answer. Again, I get the x minus 1s on the top and the bottom from the x value of my whole. I get the x minus 2 from my x-intercept, and then I get the x plus 1 from my vertical asymptote at x equals negative 1.